Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I've been wanting to film this video for a while now, like how I got into fashion photography, how I got into photography in general, sorry. So I thought, you know what, a perfect way to come back onto the YouTube scene. What is going on with my shoulders? A perfect way to come back onto YouTube would be to kind of film like a mini tutorial as to how I got into fashion photography and how I've been finding it so far. So let's get into the video. So guys, many of you may or may not know that I started doing photography about a year ago now. And the reason I got into it was because I have an Instagram page where I take lots of like fashion and beauty style images, and I got a little bit bored with just shooting myself, do you know what I mean, because there's only so much you can do when you're just taking photos of yourself. So I decided to start taking photos of a friend of mine. We ended up deciding to start a new business, and we started Signature by NR, which is our styling and photography business. So we would style people and we'd do like little shoots. So we've worked with a few bloggers, a few presenters and stuff like that. So if you check out our page, you see the work that we've done. So that's how it kind of developed. I just liked being in front of the camera. I liked being creative, and I think working with other people allowed me to kind of explore my technique a little bit more. And then I realized like actually fashion photography is something I really enjoy and I really like. Talking to a few friends of mine who I saw were doing fashion week content and stuff, and they were shooting fashion week and street style, I was like, this would be interesting. I actually want to get into this. So I spoke to a friend of mine. It was surprising to me because I always thought like fashion week was this exclusive thing, like only people with invitations could show up to the shows or be there. I mean, of course you have to have an invite to get into the shows, but to be out there around everyone and to be at the locations, like anyone could go. So yeah, so I decided, you know, I'm just going to take my camera out with me and I'm just going to shoot a few street style stuff. So my first fashion week was actually this year. January of 2019 was Men's Fashion Week. So I was like, this is super interesting. I want to go. I want to see what it's about. And I was so nervous, but I took my camera and I went out on the streets and I just started taking pictures of people. So I was in the BFC space, so the British Fashion Council. They have their own shows, which they do. So everyone can kind of show up there because that location is on the British Fashion Council website. And then for the main designer shows and stuff like that, you'd have to have invites to know where those shows are in order to go. The publisher the photographers are working with would send them the locations of all the major shows. So if you manage to like befriend a few of the photographers or a few bloggers that are working for companies, they would share the list with you. So my first fashion week, I didn't know this is how it works. I managed to capture a few good shots outside of the BFC space, and I met a few people. That experience just kind of like brought me out my shell a little bit, and it made me a little bit more confident, comfortable taking pictures of people. Street style is a good way to kind of get comfortable behind the camera, and it kind of like helps you work at a really fast pace. And it's really cool, and you just get to meet lots of cool people and you get to see lots of different cool outfits. So I really enjoyed that. And then fast forward to February of Women's Fashion Week, and this time we're at different locations. So we're at 180 Strand. Women's Fashion Week is always kind of like more exciting and it's a lot more hype than when it comes to Men's Fashion Week. So, you know, a lot more people showed out. So that was my first time feeling a little bit more comfortable doing street style, and you know, going there as well. I had my picture taken as well because I was seen to be wearing fashionable outfits, I guess. So I mean, if you do dress well, expect to have your pictures taken. So yeah, Women's Fashion Week in February was really, really good. That's when I like met a lot more people. I met this girl and she literally taught me so much. She taught me the ins and outs of like how to find out where shows are. We managed on the last day to find out where all the cool shows were, like Regina PYO. We went to the Christopher Kane show. So it was really cool, and we got to photograph lots of really cool people. So Jordan Dunn was there, Anne Marie, Anna Wintour. Like, it was insanely good. And yeah, so February Fashion Week was probably the best fashion week I'd had, and I really enjoyed it. And that was my second time shooting street style, and my content was amazing, and I was really happy and pleased with the progress from January to February, because I think I felt a little bit more comfortable and I'd learned like, you know, a few more techniques with my camera and stuff like that. But yeah, the best way to get into fashion photography or street style photography, if that's what you want to do, is to definitely just go out there and start practicing. Just start taking pictures of people. If it's your family, your friends, like I did, you know, do it. You don't realize like you're learning little things, you're learning little bits and bobs that are going to help benefit you in the long run. So yeah, so after doing Women's Fashion Week in February, I started doing a little bit more editorial shoots. So I started like liaising with models and contacted them on Instagram. And I'd say that is like actually one of my points is like social media is kind of like a great way. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, social media is kind of like a great way to meet new people. And actually, let's backtrack. From Fashion Week, I actually met a few models, a few influencers on the streets that I managed to get their details of, and then we worked together, so we collaborated. So there was a girl called Karima, who I met outside the 180 Strand, and we then ended up doing a shoot together. And prior to that, I knew a few other girls on Instagram, a few friends, a few people that I just known through other people, and I contacted them, and they were down. They were super keen to do a shoot, so I'd work with them. So another girl was Valencia. She's a super sweet girl, and I took a few pictures with her as well. We just arranged to go to the Barbican, and I'll put those pictures up as well so you guys can see. So I'd say practice makes perfect. Just work with a lot of people, start like putting yourself out there, and the more you do, the better you become. And I definitely say that was, you know, that was something that proved evident for me as well. So by the time September Fashion Week came around, which has just gone now, I was a lot more comfortable, and I actually managed to work with a brand, a company, which I was really excited about. So I'll get into that a little bit later on into the video. And for someone like myself, I'm still very new into the industry. There's still a lot for me to learn, so I'm only sharing with you what I know this far, and I'm sure there is someone out there, or there are people out there who know much more and who have more information to give, but this is me sharing my experience as I'm going through it and as I'm doing it. It's not been that long since I've started it, but I would say like I'm really pleased with the progress that I've made. And you know, from January to September, you know, I've managed from doing it on the streets, you know, not getting paid, to then working with a brand and then getting paid. Like that's massive for me, you know what I mean? And so I know a lot of you, when it comes to photography, probably be thinking what type of gear or what type of camera you'd want to invest in. The camera I use and the camera I'm filming with right now is my Canon 600D. This is the camera I used while studying at university. It was the camera that I was most familiar with. So I just bought it secondhand actually. First, I didn't want to spend over £500 on a camera. And I wasn't really sure that I would use it as often as I probably thought I would. And the whole reason I bought this camera that I'm using now is because I wanted to start YouTube, so I wanted to do that, so I bought it for that. But then the great thing about this camera is the fact that I can also film and I can shoot on it as well, which is great. And then, you know, obviously when I started finding out my love for photography, it just was the perfect fit, I guess. Canon cameras are something that I've always been used to because that's something I've always used. I know for some other people it may be Nikon, and I guess for everyone it will be different. So I definitely say, like, when investing in a new piece of kit, especially something as expensive as cameras, you know, like they're so expensive, like, oh my goodness. Now that I'm actually getting into it and I'm buying new lenses, the more I look into it, the more it gets expensive, and I'm just like, wow, like I did not ever think it'd be this expensive. Like, I bought my 50mm lens, which I'm not using right now. That was £100. And the next lens that I bought now is my 24 to 17mm lens, and that's like £1,000. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So kit is definitely expensive. So make sure you kind of like test things out and you're comfortable with it before investing, because it's a very expensive piece of gear. If you're looking to buy your first camera, I definitely say, you know, look around the market and don't feel the pressure to buy something brand new. Definitely, you know, weigh the pros and cons. Like, if it's something you're just starting out in, I wouldn't say go for the most expensive piece of kit. Also, editing software is kind of like a big thing as well. So when I first started taking pictures of myself and friends, I was only using Visco and Lightroom. It does so much. It's actually pretty handy for on-the-go editing, and I'd say definitely like download it and explore it for yourself. When it comes to desktop editing, the great thing about the Adobe Cloud, the Adobe Creative System, they have Photoshop, After Effects, if you're into animation, all that kind of stuff, Lightroom, and a bunch of other things. I've recently been trying to learn to use Photoshop. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. I feel like as soon as I learn something, I forget it. You know, a lot of industry professionals, when it comes to photography, Photoshop is like their go-to, and you know, I definitely need to learn it. I'm trying to learn it, but it's so much. And I feel like maybe I just need to pay someone to teach me. I need to go to a class or something, because yeah, I mean, YouTube is very handy. Let's not get it twisted. I do watch a few YouTube videos and I try to create things. It's not, my brain is not absorbing all the information. Lightroom CC and Lightroom Classic are also desk editing softwares that you can download from the Adobe Cloud. I have Lightroom Classic and I have Lightroom CC, and those are the two softwares that I use the most when it comes to editing. So when I did my job past Fashion Week, I used Lightroom Classic because it was the easiest. And the thing with Lightroom Classic is that you can also you can create your own presets. So if you have your own kind of like color theme that you like to use for your Instagram page or whatever, you can create your own tones. And Lightroom CC, it syncs to your mobile as well. So if you have the Lightroom app on your mobile and you have Lightroom CC on your laptop, whatever you do on your laptop will sync straight to your mobile. But I'm sure there are plenty other tools out there that you can try and, you know, experiment with to see which one you like best. So I'm sure many of you already know this. Social media is like a great way of promoting your work if you don't know already. I use Instagram mainly. And I also have a website. I have a Wix website, which I've created. Yeah, social media, Instagram is the main thing I use when it comes to kind of like uploading and sharing my work on a regular basis. I update it more than I do my website. And from Instagram as well, I've had quite a few people publish my work, which is really cool. So I've had a few other Instagram pages, photography style pages publish my work. I had recently someone messaged me asking me if they can put my work on their website because they really loved it. And then I had someone message me asking me if I could work with them on their next project because it's similar to what I've just done. And so, yeah, I mean, if you don't get it by now, Instagram is a great tool. You know, it's a great networking tool. It's a great business tool, especially when it comes to like photography. That's the whole point. Do you know what I mean? So you're able to share like your creative side with other people. So I think last but not least, I'll talk about how I managed to land a job this Fashion Week. So really exciting opportunity came up for September Fashion Week. And I was really excited and was super happy to have, you know, been given the opportunity to work with Fashion Scout. So they're kind of like a platform for like emerging or established talent, international and national. So they kind of like put them all together and they like showcase their work to, it's like an introduction into the fashion society, I guess. So that was really cool. So let's talk about how I got the job. So basically I was on Instagram and I'd been following the page for a while. And funny enough, I knew quite a few people that always get like photographers passed to like specific shows. So they have their own schedule of all like the designers, all the brands that they're going to be showcasing their work. Prior to working for them, I knew of them. They posted on their Instagram page advertising, you know, they're looking for some social media kind of like executives for the Fashion Week. And I applied for the role, even though it wasn't something that I wanted to do. I saw that as an opportunity to kind of get my foot into the door. So I just thought to myself, it doesn't really matter. Like if I'm doing social media, at least I'll still be in it and I'll get to network and speak to people. So I ended up applying for the role. I just sent a cover letter and I sent my CV. And that's another thing. I don't have a photographer's CV. I have a website, I have a social media page, and a lot of my work, just because I'm so new into photography, so they could see like this is what I was doing. But I think what was the most important thing was writing like a mini cover letter just to explain what it is that I'm doing, what I've done, and why I want to work for them. So I did that. And I didn't actually think anyone would get back in contact with me because I thought my work isn't really, I mean, this is the thing, my work is great. Even saying that now just makes me cringe a little bit. I mean, my work is good, but I just didn't think it'd be like, I just didn't think they'd want to work with me. So I just thought, maybe I'm not like, you know, good enough. And we all have self-doubt, you know. But I was surprised when I got a call back from the editor who was running everything. And she was like, yeah, like, you know, let's talk a little bit about the role. So we did that. And she said to me, yeah, I saw your Instagram page and your website and your YouTube, funny enough. And she was like, yeah, I see you do more photography. So maybe would you consider maybe working and coming on to the team maybe as a photographer? And I was like, yes, I would. So it's really interesting that she was like, yeah, you know, it's great that you're interested in like the social media side of things, but I'd want you to come on as a photographer. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So, you know, we end up the whole conversation with, yep, I'll be happy to work with you this season. And then it happened. So I was assistant photographer to the team. So I was kind of running around everything, like I was doing everything, which I really enjoyed. So crowd photography, step and repeat, street style, backstage, and yeah, then I did some runway stuff as well actually. And funny enough, a few of my runway shots actually got uploaded to their Instagram page as well, which is really cool. So I really enjoyed it. So I was all over the place. It was hectic, I'm not gonna lie. Being my first ever official work in fashion, it was a lot. But I really enjoyed it because I kind of like being in fast-paced environments, hence why I work in TV as well. And it was constantly go, 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 go. And one thing I wasn't really like prepared for was the fast turnaround in the work you were doing. So basically you'd shoot for like, let's say 30 minutes, and then you get 30 minutes to edit your content and get it out there, and then you're back on the, you know, on your next post again. So I was just sort of like, you know, I kept having like a backlog of work to kind of like get up onto the server, but I managed to kind of like keep it level, which was really good. With this brand, it was amazing to see your work actually used on their social media and online platforms. So I was really excited about that because my work has never really been published out there to such a wide audience, do you know what I mean, and such an established brand. And it was really exciting, and kind of like it was like a great kind of like accomplishment, you know, to see your work kind of like published and yeah, you being credited. It was really, really cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like you can see I'm smiling now. Side note, when it comes to like fashion and TV in general, they always say like, you know, your first job, you don't really expect to get paid, you do it to kind of meet the contacts and just kind of like use it as a portfolio builder. So I was really surprised when I did get paid. It wasn't a lot, let's not get it twisted, it wasn't a lot at all, but it was just like a nice little accomplishment to know like I am getting paid for the work I'm doing. And prior to that, prior to landing my role with Fashion Scout, I actually I was in contact with like a really well-established modeling agency who saw my work and they wanted me to work with them for the fashion week just gone, and it was going well, and then things went a little bit left. I asked for too much money, if I'm honest. Originally I was just gonna say I didn't really think they had a budget, you know, so we had a meeting and they were like, what's your budget? And I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was really honest, and I don't know whether I should have been as honest as I was, because I went in there saying, you know, you're the first people that have ever contacted me. This would be my first official job if I'm working with anyone. So, you know, I think maybe I shouldn't have gone in there so open. So yeah, I met with this agency, and you know, I was really upfront and really honest about everything. And I was like, yeah, like I wouldn't even know what to charge if I was to charge, and you know, maybe little things like that. You know, I should have just kept it a little bit more like reeled in, I think, and just kind of like portrayed that I knew what I was talking about, maybe even if I didn't, and then gone away and done my research. Yeah, so just be mindful that even though sometimes everything might seem like all like chill and good, people are like kind of like, you know, watching you, I guess. And that's with any kind of like opportunity, really and truly. It's just kind of like be a little bit more aware and alert. And I mean, it's not right to say that you should expect to not get paid, but in most of these situations, especially if you're new. And another thing I would say is, because I was so fresh and new into the industry, I think my fee was just, what I told that agency was just kind of like, it was a dream basically. And you know, thinking about it now, like yes, it was kind of a little bit over the top. So you know, next time I think I'll just, you know, just ask them what their budget is and kind of work with that. But yes, just be very mindful of that if you are trying to work with a brand or an agency or anything like that. I think this is it for the video. I don't really know what else to add. Ooh, my legs are getting numb. So that's about it for this video. I can't really, I don't know why I'm talking like this. I can't really think of anything else to say. Yeah, so if you are trying to get into fashion photography, I hope you found this video kind of like insightful. I know I've been a bit all over the place. I go off on a tangent so many times, it's just kind of like the list is redundant. Things I've shared with you guys, like I've said, is I've only been in the fashion kind of like photography industry for like literally a year, so things will change. And I'm sure, like I've said, there are other people out there that are more established, that have more to give, and they have more of an insight. This is just kind of like the information I've gotten to know in the past couple of months that I have been doing this. So I hope you guys find this information useful, for those of you that are trying to like start out, and for those of you already in it and just kind of want to, you know, I don't know, maybe get more knowledge on the things and get people's experiences, you know, here I am. Hope you find the video insightful. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. My first video back in a while. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave your thoughts and comments down below, and you can always contact me on social media as well. I'll put them all here, my photography page and my personal page. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button like right now. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.